Welcome to the Grow Your Money podcast, where we're on a mission to change how we talk about money. Our fireside chats are the heart of our show, bringing the energy and excitement of in-person events straight to your ears. We aim to connect you with inspiring voices and stories that matter, sharing relatable experiences and insights that will transform your financial life. Everyone deserves access to practical financial knowledge, so we're making money conversations relatable by inviting guests from all walks of life to share their real-life experiences with money. But this isn't your typical money show. We look at the emotional, psychological, and cultural factors that shape our relationship with money. So hit subscribe and join us for another episode of the Grow Your Money podcast.
Always good to be back with MoneyMatiX and to be talking about money, finance, and all those very important decisions and discussions. So today we're talking about financial life in a new country with the wonderful Olaolu and, of course, Tynah Matembe. But before we go any further, I'll just ask you to introduce yourselves and to tell us about Faciit, the company you founded. So, Ola first, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Olaolu. I'm the co-founder of Faciit, and Faciit basically means we facilitate it. And this supports our mission to help create financial possibilities for those who struggle otherwise. So what we're trying to do at Faciit is to create a safe-to-borrow solution for people who do have UK credit history. And how we're doing it is people save a third of whatever they want for a minimum of 3 months, and we give them to third as a competitive loan. It's quite interesting for those who targeting, like they've got jobs, they just need cash flow support. So we're not we're not focusing on those who made bad credit decisions in the past or they can't demonstrate affordability. We're just trying to retain credit worthiness for certain people who are new to the credit system, who are new to the UK. That's Faciit.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Wumi, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, hi, I'm Wumi. Akini Faciit, and I'm co-founder of Faciit as well. I'm also a life coach, and he gave everything about Faciit, and it's I think the key thing there is you're saving to borrow, and you don't have credit history, so that's the major
It's really important, especially for people who have just come into the country, because sometimes it feels like you're being treated like you're struggling, but actually it's because the system does not accommodate you. So fantastic. And of course we have you, Tynah. What do you want to say to us?
Well, I'm glad to be here, not in that seat.
Yes.
I mean, you have a go on the seat, and it's just lovely to have you on the podcast. I think the key thing for us, as we've shared, because we're partners in this, is just showcasing those untold stories, a bit like what you did with Faciit. It's not necessarily because I can't afford to have something. It's just maybe you're reading my story wrong. So trying to showcase as many different stories as possible so that we can account for different ways of managing money, because there's 1,000 ways to kill the rabbit. It's which one you choose or which one is, works for you. So I'm so glad that you guys can join us on this.
Thank you for having all of us. And in typical MoneyMatiX style, we start off with some fun questions. So I'm curious to know. So first and foremost, I'm going to ask the first question to Wumi. Would you describe your relationship with money using an emoji?
I think, yes, definitely. The smiley emoji, I get.
Yeah.
Yes, I am going to spend it on, so usually, there's a money mindset. I always speak about money mindset in coaching, and, how you spend your money depends on what you value, really. So for me, I've asked, even if it's internal because it's me, but people around you kind of see what you spend money on. And I kind of value freedom. So I spend money on freedom. So I would want to travel, So that's kind of where I kind of tie my money to. And also, just nice things and all of that. So, but that's me. But I'm also very big on investment, because I believe that investment would lead me to freedom. So that's my emoji is that smile.
Yes, I like that. Ola?
Well, mine would be like the cool emoji with the glasses, with the sunglasses. Because I see money as cool, and money is a servant. Really, money can get things done for you. Really, because once you use money as a tool to get things done, you can do cool stuff.
Yeah, and that which you said, money is a servant. I think we'll come back to that, because sometimes it's like money is the Lord to us, where it really should be the servant. That's a mindset I had to think about personally. Yeah, Tynah.
Well, which day of the week are you asking me? If I'm desperate to buy a house, I love houses very much, then I am the professor, the very smart professor that, I will not go to the shops. I am a woman on a mission. When the house has been bought, it changes to the brain fried one, to the I want a perfume, and then I'm like, oh, desperate. So what day of the week?
That's quite interesting, because I'm thinking, actually, you say that, and I'm thinking, I think mine this time will be a flipping emoji. You know, the one that flips like that? Because I'm thinking, I need to start taking somersaults with my money. I need to start, making it work.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I have another question for you. So give your teenage self one money tip. And I'll start with Ola.
Don't spend the so as a teenager, like money tend to invest in things, you get the return, but don't spend the return quickly, reinvest the return. So as a teenager, I did some stuff I thought I was good with money, but then I started spending the return on the investment and then got into the capital itself. But once the returns come, reinvest the return. So
How I would have needed that when I was a teenager.
I think for me, I've always been very good with money. I was one of those kids that would put my money under my pillow. And I would be we were 6 children, I would be the richest, even if I was the second to last born. So I was the 5th out of 6 children, but I always had money. So when my dad would give me pocket money, I wouldn't spend it in school, I would save. So I've always been a big saver. And that has brought me even till now. And from my teenage years to my early 20s, I know it sounds really weird, but I've always had money because I used to save £1, £2 type of thing. I would save all of that and it would build up. And I once heard an advice from Oprah, and she said, if you don't know what to do with money, do nothing. So at 20 years old, I had a bit of money, and I was hearing a lot about do this, do that. I wanted to buy stocks, I wanted to buy this. I just didn't understand it. So I just said, do nothing. So I saved, and getting older, I just had money, and I was able to put it into really, really good investments. While a lot of my friends, they were doing a lot of things with money at the time. It sounds, because people always say, don't save, or don't keep your money in the bank and all of that. But then when you're very young, you may just do reckless things that are too risky. So if you don't know what to do with money, do nothing.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
Sound rather than lose it, right?
You were like that as a teenager? You were thinking, will I save my money?
Absolutely not. So as a teenager, I think I've had this conversation before. I had never had to think about money. Never. If I wanted something, I got it. But one thing I was very entrepreneurial. So my parents would set us these targets like, yeah, for sure. You want to go on holiday to the UK? Absolutely. I'm going to give you 50% of it. You need to find the rest. So I was very entrepreneurial. But I was entrepreneurial to spend. So I would just be like, I have to get this phone. I have to get this perfume. Goodness me, I have to go to Dubai twice this year. And I would do that. So I was entrepreneurial, but then I was very short-sighted in terms of just spending it all at once. So what I would do with my teenage self is really, even if it's the 10% that we teach in MoneyMatiX, I would have the 10% aside from any venture that I do kept aside. I started that very much later in life. So invest at least 10% of everything that comes into your life.
Yeah, I think I was like that as a teenager as well. I was very entrepreneurial, but then once the return came, I spent everything.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when I went into even the capital as well, because I thought, yo, I'm rich. Then spend everything. I have to like start all over again. Spend everything. Start over again. Spend everything. I can just imagine if like say 10% if I like kept it, rather than starting the circle all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a kid, and you need to know your personality as well. So in your case, you're good at saving. In my case, I have to be able to afford something. If I want a perfume and I can't afford it, I am so depressed. Like someone has died. Why me? Why can I not afford this thing? Like that's my nature. And people used to, many times people would criticize me for that. Oh, you're just so ambitious. You're very greedy. You like all these things. But I'm like, really, that is me. I would like a nice perfume. Thank you very much. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's then knowing how to deal with your character and make the most of it. So in my case, I really need to say, yeah, I need this perfume. However, 10% should really not be going towards the perfume.
And that really brings me to the point that you made around when you said that money is a servant. So could you speak to that? Do you see that? Do you see it that way now? Did you see it that way before? Do you even see it that way?
No.
Okay, Wumi, you go first.
You're listening to the Grow Your Money podcast. We'll be right back after giving our partners a well-deserved shout-out. Calling all partners, join the Grow Your Money Challenge. We're excited to present our incredible sponsors who believe in empowering individuals and communities on their financial journey. Discover their services and join us in creating a brighter financial future. Featuring the Royal Bank of Scotland, your trusted banking partner with a rich heritage and comprehensive financial services. Explore their online banking at www.rbs.co.uk. Gift Round, make group gifting a breeze. Celebrate special occasions together with colleagues, friends, and family. Create a gift round at giftround.co.uk and show your appreciation. Radiant and Brighter, promoting diversity and economic participation in migrant communities. Get involved with their innovative practices at radiantandbrighter.com. Rooted Finance. Struggling with debt or financial exclusion? Rooted Finance provides free money and debt advice services to put you on the path to financial freedom. Join the Grow Your Money Challenge in this transformative journey toward financial growth and resilience. Visit MoneyMatiX.com to get involved today.
Definitely. I always knew the value of money, because in my family, we grew up with money, but then, there's that effect of, at some point, that your family doesn't have money right now, so that money mindset kind of gives you a reality check that, you can have a lot and then not have and have huge responsibilities, because I saw my parents struggle at some point and then they went back up again and we were comfortable. But that reality check kind of, brought me to reality, and just, you just see the, the value of money. And with me, I remember having my car, and my car wasn't so great. Because of what I was doing, my car was just, so people were like, why don't you buy a new car? And I needed to sort out some other things first. I needed to do some major investment, because I didn't see a car as an investment. I saw it as a liability. So as long as it was going to get me from A to B, I was fine with it. So I spent money doing other things before buying a new car. So when people see the new car now, they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, no, you did not know me when my car was breaking down, So that way, I believe that I was more powerful than money, because I did not let the perception of people ride me, and the fact that I was driving this kind of car, because, some of the environments we come from, some material things kind of make people approach you in a certain way. And then you become a servant to money, because it applies to you as an individual. People want to speak to you because you have this. It can be a material world, that would lead you into being a servant for money. So you have to make money. You have to be the master of money, as opposed to being a servant to money and making money your servant.
Absolutely. And I'm going to come back to the aspects that you said around how we see money in Africa. You're from Nigeria, we're from Uganda, but how we see money there and how we see money here. But before I come to that, you brought it up. So money is your servant. has always been?
No. No. For me, it's just like getting things done. So I think from my second startup, I really tried. I really tried to get it off the ground, but I was trying to do everything. I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't pick up. I couldn't do a lot of stuff. But then I learned that I could leverage money. So there's some things I could get people to work on some stuff for me. I could get people to do stuff for me. And their time, I was paying for their time and their skill set to get things done, rather than me trying to do it myself. And that mindset, that changed. Even now, I'm building a startup. I still have a 9 to 5. So the 9 to 5 gives me even some leverage to be able to get some other people to work. So while I'm focused on the 9 to 5, that time some people are working for me. So the business is still going. And so for me, it's just having that mindset that I don't have to do everything. And sometimes it's not just money, it could be relationship as well, could help you get things done. But normally, like, if there's no money, then that's the end of the world, rather. Bad situation, but there was no money, but I could still get things done. So for me, it's just say, like, what's the use of money? It's just to get things done. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Wow, fantastic. And of course, money matters. Really, money is your servant, right? It served you.
That's always been the case at all. So very interestingly for me, and we've had a conversation before around this, I had literally never. It's like when we were talking about, I had never considered that I was a woman. I had never considered that I was African. And I had never thought about money. They were just there. Like, I just had money. I just did what I needed to do. And I was just this person. And then I moved to the UK. And I was like, right, who are you again? And what is a credit score? What does that mean about me? Who am I with money? Do I have money? Do I not? I had never asked myself these questions. So for a very, very long time, I was a slave. I was a slave to money. I was one we didn't have because we went through a situation where our government's contract came to an end. And so we were just living on this one salary. And I'm still expecting the lifestyle that I've grown up with and I'm used to. A big transition. But that season was very necessary because otherwise I sincerely believe I would have gone through life never having questioned who I was or what money was meant to be for. And I don't think I would ever have had any tangible goals. But going through that season made me realize, hang on, I do not like the feeling of this. I don't want to ever be in a situation again where I am a slave to money. I have to be the one that's riding the tide. And so it changed, but it was very gruesome.
Yeah. And that really, I think, is something that we all experience. You come from home, you've had a different lifestyle. You come here and you have a completely different lifestyle. And it's such a wake-up call. And the fact that you've come from a country, and then this is what's fascinating, that we come from a world where we are perceived to be poor. Africa is perceived to be poor. But actually, we live quite, I'm not saying everyone is rich. I'm not saying that we don't have poverty. By all means, we do. But the perception on a whole continent is wrong. Because we do not necessarily always see poverty sometimes to the extent that we see it when we move to this like when we move to Scotland or the UK. For me as well, I think, and we weren't like exorbitantly rich or anything, but I felt poverty to its intensity whilst I was in Scotland. And it wasn't because of anything other than the fact that I was a migrant, had come to, and we've spoken about this, and I've said to Tynah, do not use immigrant. Don't use the words immigrant here. We are not immigrants.
We've had to change.
Yes.
Heading.
When other
because which is very true.
When other people come to our country, they're experts. We are not migrants. Yes. We're not immigrants. We are people who have moved from another country. So mindset, and in thinking about coming from another country and coming to this country, what has been the biggest financial difference that you've experienced, Ola?
For me, really, so like you said something about credit score. So I grew up hearing things like, oh, this person's building a house, this person doing this. And then people have houses like back home. But here, when you buy a house, but then you're paying for it over like 10, 15, 20 years. That concept for me was just, I couldn't grasp that at first, really. But the people build a house and they own it and that's it. But in the UK, you struggle to just buy a house, and that house as well, it takes you decades to pay it off. And that wasn't, I don't see that as affluence. I think that's like a wealthy lifestyle. Like, so then how do you get to the point where you have estate? Because I grew up with people having that. It was normal. People go into business, they make money, they have things. But here, you still work, you still do work.
Yeah.
But then...
Funnily enough, my dad, when he first came to visit, and we had got our first house, we were excited. We're like, he's coming, they're coming, He came with my mom, and then he asked us about everything. He says, so this mortgage situation, what does it show? And I tell him, I explained to him. He says, so have I failed? So for the next rest of your life, you're going to pay someone for this little box? Why? Why could you not save and buy it outright? He just could not get it. And I don't think he ever will. He just, every time he says, so is it again a mortgage or this time you've bought? I'm like, Daddy, they're both buying. We're just in a different country. He's like, he doesn't get it.
And it's hard to get your head around that. If I'm honest, I'm still questioning that debt mortgage thing. Because we are a cash economy, right? We buy things. And here, you buy a house and the land on which the house is, you're still renting. What even is that? So... So what has been your biggest financial difference, Womi?
I think it's what, we've all said, and I think it's the abundance mentality. I feel like in Africa, as much as, like you said, there's poverty and all of that, there's a mindset of abundance, Once you have money, you have money.
Money is
The money is there. Sometimes you give us away, and you give this person, you give this niece, this nephew.
Yes.
But it's happening.
Take it to another.
Hey, we take it to another.
You chop it.
Hey, we take, people own estates, people own buildings, people own hotels. But here, it's like you come here and you're trying to do that, but there's a cap.
Yeah.
Yes.
You cannot.
It's a glass ceiling.
It's like, you're like, why? I can't be abundant here. I can only afford. So you live in a mindset of affordability as opposed to, being all that you can be over there. So that for me has been very, it's been a struggle to understand it.
Yeah. And I completely get it, because the way in which we think about money here, and I think we've talked about this before, is the money is there, but somehow you're held back home. So there are good things and bad things in each culture. In our culture, back in Uganda, Nigeria, probably quite a bit of Africa, once you have money, you spend it. You give aunties, you give uncles, you give sisters, you go to the village, you call the whole village, you feed them. Yes. Yeah. And then you come here and it's like, would you like a cup of tea? See, when you talk about your dad visiting, my mom came to visit the first time. And so I left, I'd left Uganda quite a while, and I had this mindset, but I wasn't thinking about it. So I'd come and ask her, Mom, do you want a cup of tea? And she'd say no. And then my husband would come and ask, and would come, and I'd walk to the bedroom and come back and they're eating. And she's got a cup of tea and they're eating. It happened a few times. Eventually, I was a bit confused, and then I realized he wasn't asking her. He was giving her because he knew not to ask my mom if she wanted tea because she'd say no. But then she said to me, hey, Pheona, since you moved to the UK, you've become mean. And mean in Uganda means selfish, right? And I'm thinking, what? But because I was asking, because we are givers.
Just give,
Yes, yes.
Don't come to my house and I don't give you a drink.
Yes.
How dare?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that has an impact, because what I now want to ask you, how do you balance the cost of living in the UK, okay, with your other financial and goals and priorities, okay? Because back home, yes, you may do that. And I keep saying back home. I've lived in Scotland for years.
This is home. Girl, this is home.
This is home, I know. But I think, like where we originally come from, there is a thing of you have the money, but do you actually have financial goals? Do you even set goals? So how do you balance the cost of living here and your financial goals? I'll go to Tynah first this time.
One of the things that I've learned to do over the years is make the main thing the main thing, because there can be so much going on. I mean, here we have bills, and like bills are real. It's not like Uganda where you're going to go and like, shift for things around for a little bit. When the bills are due at a certain time, it's clearly set, and you have life you need to live, and you have all these things. So I decide to make the main thing the main thing. Before that main thing is not sorted out, I don't move to the next step. So the bills are going to be all the time. I have to pay the bills. And then what's the main thing? The main thing that's going to move me to the next step. So for my financial goal setting, if my aim is to buy a house, what's the one thing I need to do this month to get me closer to buying that house? That's the only thing I focus on. Once I've done that, I can do anything else. And another thing I've learned, especially during that season, because I had never, ever, as I had said, I'd never been without money. And when we went through that season, I quickly realized that what is a necessity for me is not a necessity for you. Needs vary based on our lifestyle, based on our expectations, based on our upbringing. So you can put yourself in a place of scarcity even when you have. You can eat baked beans and eggs for a month. That's still eating and you're meeting a goal. So make the main thing the main thing, and put yourself in a state of scarcity until you achieve that next step, because otherwise things can be... I mean, right now, when the fuel prices went through the roof, that was an eye-opening thing, because then I started wondering, so is it cheaper for me to take a train ride? Is it even affordable to have a car? Then I thought, wait, maybe I'm approaching this wrong. Why am I making journeys? So I thought, let's first look at the journeys I'm making, and let me start there. Why am I coming to you for 10 meetings before we have a business deal? So I don't go for as many meetings anymore. I'm like, well, I'm going to have, unless it's a meeting that's important, we are closing on a deal, I'm not going to come to you for a coffee, spend £20 getting to you for us to have a conversation and say, let's have a follow-up. So it's making the main thing the main thing. Why am I making this journey? Need to make the journey? No, probably not. So I think that's what sent me through this season.
Interesting. I'm going to stop making those useless journeys. Yes,
yeah,
I need to be thinking.
I change it to a Zoom meeting. Do you want us to have a Zoom call? Do you want us to meet online?
In this cost of living, especially,
it's 20 quid. It costs. Well, when you step out your door, £30 at least it's going to cost you, because you have to buy a coffee. In my case, I really like to buy someone a coffee. I don't want you to buy me a coffee all the time. Also, I'm trying to make a statement to say I'm not necessarily needy. So it's an exchange here. So there's a situation where I want to be able to buy you a drink. I have to travel there. You may get hungry. There's a lot of things. So 30 quid for the moment I step out my door. It better be good.
So you're avoiding buying me a coffee. That's for another day. Well, how are you balancing, the cost of living and your priorities?
Mine is very similar to ours as well. Mine is just like, what's going to get me to the next stage, where they want to be. So what is it am I at this point? Just really being aware, okay, this is the season I am at this point. And then the money is just where I see this. I'm spending this money. What's this money getting me back? So I see it as a servant, really. If I'm doing even if it's just whatever it is, that then there's a mental return on investment on it really. Not just spending just for the sake of spending. So the bills are there. The bills will have to be catered to, but then whatever I'm spending on that's to push me somewhere. So that's the way.
This is an interesting new term, mental return on investment. Take note, guys. That one had not yet crossed. It has not been on the balance sheet yet. Mental return on investment. That's a new one. Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I think, because I'm visiting, I think it's different for me because I have to pay for some things over there in Africa and not pay for it here. So over there, I'm paying for security. And when I say I'm paying for security, I have a security guard. You know what I mean? I'm paying for my electricity. Sometimes I'm my own government. I have a generator. I have an inverter. I'm telling you, I have an inverter, and I'm paying my electricity bills. So even me, I have PhD in electricity because I'm just saying, because I'm taking care of my electricity, but here it's different. It's taken care of. I just need to pay for it. But over there, I'm paying for things that I normally don't have to pay for. You know what I mean? Here. So my money working there is different from my money working here. Here, I just need to take care of bills, and the bills are this, and this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have been done.
Things have been done, and I'm getting the value of what I'm paying for. But over there, I may be paying for a lot of things I'm not getting the value. So I may even pay for electricity and not have electricity, but I'm paying.
Yeah, that is so true. I've never, on that note, actually, when we talk about the whole recycling and bins, I'm really, really, people in this house know that I'm very big on recycling and keeping, because I'm like, guys, these guys have organized their system. Why would we come and break it? If there's a system that allows you to recycle, why would you not recycle? Because I come from a place where recycling, you're paying for it and it's not being recycled.
Yes.
So I cherish those bits where the council tax is paid, but the street is going to be swept.
Thank you. But then in Africa, the road, you're paying your taxes, but your car is becoming bad because of the potholes on the road. So that your car maintenance fees is increasing, because you're paying a lot to maintain your car over there. But here, all you need to do is, you even change your oil yourself, or you do this yourself, and you're good.
Yeah.
But
I don't know about that though.
I
don't know if I want to change my own oil.
A friend of mine, she inflated her tires herself. She went to a petrol station because I went to see my friend in Lincolnshire. She went to a station and inflated her tires herself. You don't do that yourself in Africa. You just sit in your car and someone does it for you.
And you know what?
And you pay for it while you're still landing.
That I have to. Sometimes at the petrol station, I'm like, oh yeah, what do I do? It's me.
And that comes back to how we spend money. Because the needs back home, when somebody hears you saying you're spending for a security guard, they're like, whoa, what are you spending? Yeah, what are you spending on a security guard? You're wasting money. But actually, it's a need because there are reasons why you need the security guard. Where here, it's different. You don't need the security guard, but please, you better pay your council tax.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter what it's
the security.
Exactly, that's the security that you're paying for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And over there you pay for a driver as well to drive you around.
Yeah.
But here you have nice trains working.
Yes.
I think they're going to have the drivers. Thank you very much.
But then that increases
What do you do?
expensive.
I don't know,
And when they get there, and there's traffic, you may get there not on time. But you get on the train, you pay your how much little money. You can manage your time. But over there, you pay your driver. You're in the car before you get to where you're going to. The driver's mother has died in the village. You have to give the mother, you have to help the mother. I don't want to get into that.
That's sorry. You have a
financial needs. Your staff and their needs.
Then if you have a business, you have business staff.
Yes. Yes.
So true.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about that one.
You run a household like a business.
So
very interesting.
Yeah. So we've talked about all this, how you've lived back in Uganda, Nigeria, now we're here. So do you find that your attitude towards money has actually changed since coming here? Do you feel like it's actually changed? And I'll go with Ola first.
Yes, it has. So I did economics in university, but I didn't really think about it until like now. Factors of production and things like that, land, labor, capital. But here I just made realize that who owns the capital controls everything, really.
Yes.
So even you having you getting a job, getting paid for whatever. To an extent, yes, you're getting paid whatever it is. But those who own the capital, those who own they control everything.
Yes.
And I didn't really think about that back home, really.
Yes.
For me, my brought back economics I did in secondary school, but about to be conscious of that. Owning things. Because for me, I'm really passionate about ownership. So like you said, you own an apartment, but you still renting the land.
Yes.
But back home, that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You have complete ownership. And that's living in the UK. It's something I think about quite frequently, thinking about ownership. Am I just even renting this? You get a car, but you don't really own the car because it's not even hire purchase or whatever. There may be a smart, and it's the reason why people buy cars different ways. But it's still, for me, it's the ownership. You get made me to be really conscious of ownership. So what do I own and how can I own things?
Very interesting because on that point of ownership, first of all, let me clarify something, guys. In Scotland, actually, you can buy property freehold.
Yeah.
So in England, yes, most properties are leasehold, but in Scotland, there's an option to buy freehold. So you can actually buy and own. So let's say if you had cash to buy a property, it would be yours at the end of your term.
And there's the tip for the day.
That's your tip for the day. If you want to buy property and own it, buy it in Scotland. But I just wanted to segue into your point on ownership. You're penalized as well for owning here. There's a penalty for ownership. It costs way more to own than hire purchase. And in fact, over the years, you raised the point earlier about a car being a liability. Me and my husband have had a conversation many times about whether actually hire purchase makes sense. Because it costs you so much more to buy the car that's worthless in 4 years because no one is going to buy it because it's cheaper for them to get it on hire purchase. So the value of ownership is actually devalued, if that makes sense. Ownership is not rated so highly. So you owning an asset, you owning what you think is an asset has a very different implication for if I own that same thing in Africa. So if I'm in Uganda and I have a car, I buy it, it's my car, resale value in 3-4 years is still well kept because access to new cars is less. There's a supply and demand is different. Whereas here, I'm penalized for buying the car outright. You go to sell it and it costs you a lot more. So we had to rethink because that was our mentality as well. And I was like, wait, what is going on here?
For me, because the way I see ownership is that gives you leverage.
Yeah.
Because even if you want to start a business and because you don't have credit history or whatever it is, but you got this, this could even give you leverage to get access to capital.
Absolutely.
And for me, it is that the leverage you get, take it gets to the next level. And probably maybe I'm thinking I'm not thinking about it the right way, but I see that as very important. Like being in a new country, I use the word new country. Having leverage and having to be able to build that. Because back home, I can say, what's my last name? My last name could even be leverage I have. Really.
Yep.
That's so true.
Yes.
Very intangible.
Yeah. Very. I'm telling you, so true.
Because if you don't know me, you probably know my dad or my uncle.
Yeah. Very true.
Okay, let's take a risk on him.
Yeah.
Very true.
Very. That's
And the sad thing is, if you're born and bred here, your name also is a leverage. It's the same. It's just done very subtly and very different, but absolutely. Who do you know? Which school? Which university did you go to? All comes into play, and you're coming in new.
Yeah.
You leverage. It doesn't matter who you're.
Exactly, because I was just going to come here, and for me, over there, I'm quite known because I was
a big deal.
I was former Miss Nigeria. So over there, people hear my name and I get favors just like that. I walk into offices and people know me. And, I even do people favors. So people want to put me on the front cover of a magazine. I do it for free because I'm getting awareness. But when I came here during my master's and people wanted to put me on front covers, I started charging them because I was like, was like, I'm suffering in this country. So please, you have to pay me. You have to pay me money now. My eyes opened because I was like, I have to, unlike over there, it was more like, okay, I'll do it for you because I was making money. But when I moved here, I was like, what do you want? You have to pay. How much are you paying? So my value for money just changed because my eyes opened. Yeah, because your influence has reduced. Your name is nothing. You're a Miss Nigeria. Okay, Miss Nigeria over there, but here you're nothing. Okay, you're another person. What is that? So I can't. So as a commodity, because over there I'm a commodity. I go for an event and I've added value to that event. Yeah. I go for I stand in front of a brand and I've added value to that brand. So I'm more valuable over there than valuable over here. So that changes my money mindset because now I have to think, okay, it's not about the money, it's about the value I want to get at the end of the day. But then sometimes you think, okay, it's more about the money than the value, if you know what I mean. Because money is a means to an end. So at some places you have to think about the end and just get the end. So I want a car. So all I have to think, how do I get the car? Right? Okay, do I leverage my brand? And do I leverage my opportunity to be able to get that car? Do I market for them? And then I pay only a certain amount. But here, I have to think about the money. I need the money to get the car.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah,
and whoever you are,
is the money.
It's the money. So now I realize I have to have the money here. Over there I can leverage a lot of things.
Well, I could talk to you for hours, but I have just one final question that I'm going to ask you, and then we're going to close. And the question is, and you're going to have to share your secrets now. No, just something that you'd be happy to share. Actually, I have two questions, but the first one is, what financial goal do you have this year that you could share with us? And how are you going to make it happen this year? Something that you're comfortable to share with us. Wumi first. Oh, should I? Don't go fast.
I think for me, I have a financial goal. I wanted to make, for my coaching, I wanted to make $300,000 this year. I also wanted to get a home in the US. So I'm working on it. I have some projects I'm working on, and I'm focusing on increasing my income. And so that's majorly it.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me, I want to get on property like that in the UK this year. I think that's a big one. I've really been thinking about it and just working towards just getting on property like that.
Fantastic. Thank you.
We are hoping to get another buy-to-let property this year. So we've been saving avidly towards that. And what we've done practically, from a practical point of view, is taken on some additional work and then setting that money specifically aside towards doing that. So we're hoping that by the end of the year, we'll have enough to leverage that.
Super. Thank you. One last question. And it is, mine. Mine. So I think one thing that we want to be able to achieve this year is to set up a new service for Radiant and Brighter. So I don't know if I even introduced myself. So, Radiant and Brighter, we're a community interest company, but we want to set up a new service and in that service be able to encourage people to think about how they work, not just here, but how they work and set up back home in their own countries, and how they move from just setting up business here to setting up back home. So that's something that we're looking into. And
may want to talk to Miss Nigeria.
Absolutely. The people you meet, I tell you, in business, fantastic. So, advice for newcomers, Ola first. Somebody that's coming into the country first. You've now had your 2 days experience. No.
I would say know what you want 100% and ask loads of questions. Because the tricky part of asking a lot of questions, knowing what you want. Because a lot of times people tell you do this, do that. The point you're chasing your tail. I'll do it this way. But so when you know what you want and just ask questions, really. Ask questions. And if you started a business, the first meeting is always free. Most times, just use it really. There was a time, so when we started Faciit, because we know, just stop us for 10 seconds answer, but so when we started Faciit, we knew 100% that we had to go into the regulatory space, and getting regulatory help could be expensive. So we went to some very high-end lawyers, but we knew that the first hour was free. So we got a free 1 hour advice onto the next one. And then we did that for a week. Then I did that a perfect idea. This is what we're going to. This is how we go about it. Done. So I would say know what you really want and ask a lot of questions.
Brilliant advice.
Yeah. I would say do a lot of research, before you leave your country. Do a lot of research. And when I say research, ask people that have references. So if you want to do your master's in a particular school, have someone that has done their master's in that school, possibly your course. Ask them how they're living, how they're feeding, how their next steps are. If you want to buy a house in the UK, if you want to move to and then start renting and then buy a house, find somebody that did what you're about to do. And then gauge, research is so important. We take it for granted. Some people just sell everything they have and move, and think greener pastures, So I think research is really important, information, knowledge, and then having a plan, is really important before stepping out of your country, because it's not always greener on the other side. So yeah.
Mine would be immerse yourself. Immerse yourself. I remember spending very many years in transition, not sure whether I was here or there or, not making a decision. And I lost a lot of time. So what I do these days is I'm in the UK right now. I'm in Scotland right now. Scotland is home. It has to be perfectly home. One, because I'm raising a family here who are identified as Scottish, very Scottish children. So for their sake, I need to immerse myself in the culture, in the lifestyle, because this is where I've chosen to make home. So immersing myself and making it the best space possible, while again having a bigger picture of where I'm going next. So if you're in Scotland now, make it Scotland and make the most of it. When the time comes to move, guess what? You moved and came here.
Yeah.
It could be exactly the same. But while you're here, make it happen. Make it, live life, have experiences, go out, live your best life wherever you are.
I think maybe possibly it gets harder as you get older, because moving somewhere else is like starting all over again. So even if you're here in Scotland, like say you want to move to the US in 2 years, and that's like going to start all over again, and then you have to do that research all over again and that plan and the lawyers and all of those things all over again. So
And sadly, or maybe not so sadly, but a friend of mine moved back. They're from Botswana, and they moved back to Botswana, I think 18 months ago now, because I was speaking to her yesterday, and she was saying, Tynah, you cannot believe it, but I'm not Botswanian. I'm not from Botswana anymore. So I'm freaking having to find my feet again. The market lady is no longer the market lady. My name is fizzled out. I have to build up again. My friends have moved on. So I thought I was coming back home, but actually, no, I know more people in Scotland. So she's really, really struggling to settle back in Botswana. And she was just saying, funnily enough, don't think that when you're moving back home. It's not home as you know it. So just make home. Make where you are home. If you move,
You really make a good point. I think we talk a lot about, going back and, and coming from Uganda and Nigeria. But the truth of the matter is we're here for a reason. And I think if you value and appreciate where you were, you'll make the most out of it. And I think in so many ways, we are challenged, but we've also been welcomed. So it's really important that we value that. And so for me, to somebody who's coming that's new, I would say, remember who you are and value you. And I'm going to finish with a quote that you'll be surprised to hear from your mama, which is from Mrs. Matembe said, and she was talking about women, but now I say this of us who are coming here, and I knew that we don't know who we are. No, people don't know who we are because we don't know who we are. So for me, anybody coming, come and know who you are. Because sometimes we forget ourselves and we forget that we can be, that we forget that we can grow, and our potential just dwindles every minute. With every moment that you're beaten and battered, you just lose yourself. So remember who you are. And for those that were listening to us today and you've been watching, we really appreciate you. Thank you for taking your time to listen to us. There will be more. Please keep scrolling. There are more podcasts on, more vlogs, not podcasts, more vlogs on the challenges of navigating being in a new country and the financial challenges that we face, but also the opportunities that there are. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Grow Your Money podcast. If you're looking to take actionable steps toward achieving your financial goals, visit MoneyMatiX.com. That is money, MATIX.com. And join our free Grow Your Money Challenge. Let's unite in the movement to inspire people to talk about money. Thank you for being a part of our community. We'll see you in the next episode.